Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer, and I said it off air, so I'm going to say it again. Dave, I am living for the John Misha Petkovic throwback shirt. This is incredible. Okay.
Thank you. Well, you know, I probably have more clothes than a human should. So, and I didn't do a lot of shopping this summer. I just, stuff going on. And I had this moment a couple weeks ago. I was like, I have nothing to wear that excites me. So it was like change of seasons in the store, and I saw it and was taken. I was like, it looks a little crazy. I should do it. So
amazing.
You know, you're like, it's either going to be really fun and cute or really ugly. Like, okay, one or the other. We should just go for it.
It works. It works.
I did. We are actually going to be discussing all things figure skating because this is this and that. So if you are new here, please subscribe below and remember to smash that like button. Jonathan.
So we begin. Yeah.
This season, look, I have to tell you, like, you know, a lot of things happened during the off season personally, like crazy. But I have to tell you, over the last couple months, you know, getting this season, okay, where skating is when we do our show. We have people that used to call us liars when I would say that the Russians were doping, right? Then all of these people are like, oh my God, the Russians are doping. We shouldn't talk about them. Then there are people that, you know, the Russians are invading Ukraine, so they don't want to talk about it, even though the US did invade Iraq. So like you could like be like, what? Well, yes, and yes.
But again, as we've discussed on the show, the difference is the government involvement with the sport, of course. Yeah.
Course. But it's like, okay, it is a fair, like you have to like weigh everything, right? So it's like, all right, but we still have to report on everything that's going on, right? So there's like that thing to balance. Then there's the fact that because of everything happened and didn't get finalized until June, the ISU has everything delayed. So trying to explain new rules, new situations, the fact that people...
All the spins look the same now as a result, yeah.
Anytime we post anything, people are like, what's the update on that Valyeva situation? Did the US get their medal? No! And you know what? They're not going to for a long time, okay?
Do you think that decision came down and it was not discussed ad nauseum on the show? Do you know what I mean? We're ready for it as much as everyone else is, yeah.
It's gonna be a long process. And guess what? After it, there are gonna be appeals, people. So those medals, maybe by the time Alexis Sameka-Knierim's daughter is like 5, they will get Olympic medals.
I was gonna say, or when she comes back from vacation at long last.
Okay, are these old pictures or is my girl Alexa traveling a lot? Listen, she has no one to compete against. She just has to get into the rink and like practice that triple toe and that triple sow enough times before January. Like the Grand Prix doesn't really matter. She's probably going to win. I understand this. I understand that maybe she did take our advice that this is a great business venture and she needs to rest, to reset. A lot of these skaters seem burned out after last season. I'm getting a little worried, but you know, Alexa, she has a lot of opinions and she will come for us. So I think, you know what, take all the time you need. Look fabulous.
Yeah.
Be fun, girl, okay? Just, we miss you, Alexa.
Right? Yeah.
I think what I like most about Alexa is that she's fun and scary at the same time. She might say that about us. You know, it's fun.
Perhaps.
You know, it's like seeing an animal in the wild where like, you know, you're going to back away slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I know that sometimes socially I come in like a tornado. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, can be fun, but can be intense for those not used to that intensity. Yeah. I find her the same. I love her energy, but it is big. Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
So yeah. But this season, trying to get ready, right? So we have all of these skaters, 1,000,001 retirements, like some of the biggest in the sport, plus all of the stars that we covered last year are banned, retired. I mean, think about the people that we were talking about last year. Hanyu, Kolyada, Nathan Chen, Sherbakova, Kosternaya, Trusova, Valyeva.
All of them. Yeah, yeah.
All of them. Vanessa and Eric, Sway and Han, Tarasova and Morozov, Sinitsyn, Katsalapov, Papadakis, and Cizeron, Hubble and Donahue.
Galyamov. I mean, literally, Boykova. It was all of our mainstays. It's as if like some high school graduated everyone all at once.
Yes.
And now we're like, oh, right, you were here. You were here competing before. And now you have big opportunities. And we'll get into where your frustrations lie. Mine lie in that it seems like such a golden opportunity for someone willing to take it. And so far, no one seems to be willing to sort of step through that open door.
To describe what this season feels like so far. So I spent my freshman year at Penn State. I was a double major, but I wasn't really focusing on journalism. An advisor kind of told me, you know, it's great for business. You should really look at another place for your kind of personality. Even though they have a paper and whatnot, she's
but
like,
I appreciate that advice from someone
really
at the institute. Yeah.
Talking about like who I was personally and whatnot. So I went from a school of 42,000 people with a stadium that fit almost 105,000-ish at Penn State.
Some more predatory than others, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to have been there when that story broke. So just, I mean, come on.
Right.
I transfer. Ithaca is a school of 6,000 people with a stadium that looks like a high school field. So I went to 2 football games at Penn State, but when people would be like, do you want to go to the football game here? I'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
why get the diet version? Yeah.
Diet version? This is the RC Cola version. Like, what are you talking about? Like, right? Okay. That's like what this season feels like from the last seasons to this season. You're like, whoa, what has happened? And we are trying to push this uphill. Now, people are really upset about this. And I posted something, and there's a little bit of a nuance here. So people are really upset with Peacock because they are.
Oh, I'm glad you bring it up because I was confused by this news. Yeah.
I believe from what I have been told, although they never advertise this because of course they don't want people to cancel their subscriptions. Which I will. Remember that, well, of course, if you have a VPN, you can watch everything through the ISU channel anyway. Get the Opera browser, everyone. And then you can use the ISU. Good name. Yeah, okay. Yes. Right? So you think about it. I believe this has something to do with the Alexa and Brandon. Alexa. No, it's not her fault. No. Think about it. I was thinking about this actually as I was driving yesterday, having way too many deep thoughts when you're driving for skating in the morning. But their music, remember they had a suit, they were NBC and everyone was being sued because at the Olympics, the music they used, that artist was again, who has a track record of trying to find any airplay for their music and going after them legally. Yeah. Which I have to say, I really disagree with. And I know that people have really intense views on copyright. And I'm just going to talk about why I think that this is maybe misguided, but I understand that we live in a streaming world. Things are very different than they used to be. However, the fact that Alexa used music, which every other skater did, so it could have been any skater that used music that got sued. It just happened to be this scenario, right? Right. If you imagine this, that is a huge exposure for athletes. Now, you also argue that the Olympic movement is a billion-dollar movement. Maybe people that are using should get, what do we think is going to happen? Probably some small settlement where, wow, if your music is used at the Olympics, you're going to be paid this much. I mean, that like, barely covers all the legal costs to get that settlement, in my opinion. Correct. Yeah. Will you be heroes in the music industry? I don't know. Maybe someone will give you a little street cred and forget that it ever happened. That's what is going to come out of this. I mean, it could change the way. It could be bad for skating. If you think of, if this lawsuit goes the wrong way, we could go back to everyone using the same classical piece of music, which we do miss classical music. Although when we had classical music, everyone used the same 10 tracks after a while. Right. So yes and no, although everyone uses the same tracks of songs with lyrics. So we have the same problem, just lyrics or classical, right? So, and well, it was interesting right after the Olympics when this story was being discussed. Side note, you know, I happen to be like a giant South Park fan, and they had this whole episode about like artists throwing temper tantrums about airplay and things like that. I highly encourage it. It's very good watching. Here's the you know, tell me,
Well, so I went to the Elton John concert right after the Olympics.
And how much were those tickets?
Oh, like 200, 300 something, like, yeah. And he was talking about Nathan Chen at Madison Square Garden. He was like, did you guys know this cool guy used my music? I was so honored, and he won gold and he did these amazing things. Let's hear it for Nathan Chen. I'm sure 99.9% of that audience had no idea who Nathan Chen was, but suddenly everyone's clapping and they're like, oh, someone skated to Elton John. You know, it creates all this great buzz and everybody's good. As a musician, I think this group is on the wrong side of things, because you're just going to encourage that no one ever skate to you again. And is that what you want?
Some of our videos get translated into Japanese, where they take our videos and they dub them, but it happens like a week or two later. Right? Like, it's just, what are you going to do? Right? Are we going to fight it? Like, no, it's great that people are at the end of the day, right? It's just, it is what it is. And I understand. On one hand, you can look at it that if you're a smaller artist who's not making a lot of money, right? Elton's not hurting for cash, right?
Right.
You'd be like, I want to be compensated, or it's the principle. But it's also a huge opportunity for exposure.
Well, because again, this is different. Alexa is not a cover band who is selling tickets for people to come hear her sing a cover of that song. Do you know what I mean? Yes, the Olympic movement is outrageously expensive, but it's not like Alexa is receiving financial reward as a result of using the music. And to me, that's where it's different. And if someone, for instance, dubbed our show and charged people $10 a pop to watch it, then you're sort of into like some dicey waters, because you're like, well, now you're making money off of someone else. But that's so vague to say because someone skated at the Olympics and although earned a medal, never received one. I don't know how she's reaping financial benefits from your music.
So remember when Liam, Aliona's ex-husband, was drawing art of the skaters? Some fans of the skaters were mad because they said that he was making money. Like, it got into a whole
ridiculous.
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
It went big to where, like, remember we had tried to make mug. It became a just cluster.
Too messy to try. Yeah.
Too messy. Just canceled the whole thing. Not worth the argument.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though the skaters were excited by this, but it's a whole, like, you get into so
fans never care about the actual person. They only care about their own sort of like representation of them.
They don't realize that.
Yeah. They don't realize a lot.
I mean, I think they do care about the person, but then fandom can take on its own life. Like when people become on the Nathan train or on the Hanyu train or on the virtual, like it starts to take on a life where it's actually separate than the person and it's an abstract simulacrum of this. So anyway, what I was going to say is that you start to get them at like, okay, you're watching the Olympics. If the artist gets paid, so the way that it had always worked, my understanding of this with skating and music, this question does come up, is that the music and skating is not considered the primary audio track. The primary audio would be Johnny and Tara. So the way that they get around the music copyright is the fact that that is considered the secondary track. So that's like if you're watching a football game and someone has their iPhone on and you can hear music from someone in the stands, you wouldn't be charged for that inadvertent music.
Yeah.
Now, is this a loophole? Yes, there are like lawyers that have probably fought this out forever. It's interesting from a media rights, media law perspective on what to do. And I'm sure Taylor Swift would have a million opinions on this, although she might say it's great exposure, right? I mean, on one hand, it's marketing, and on another hand, it gets into a really sticky situation. Athletes aren't paid for their face in the image and likeness during the Olympics.
Right.
Remember, NCAA athletes are only making money. This is the second year that someone at an NCAA sport is able to make money. They used to only be paid based on their scholarship. And Ivy League schools weren't allowed to make money at all for some stupid reason. So they were making money. And if you went to an Ivy League school and got in for a sport, getting into the Ivy was considered to be the benefit of that. So if you an athlete, you weren't making any money beyond your scholarship, even though the school was making so much money. Now the school kind of brokers deals and kind of funnels some sponsorships to athlete. Like they've worked around because schools were concerned that they weren't going to be making any of the money and that they weren't going to be able to put on the sport. It's like, well, it costs so much for us to put it on, which is also true, but then there are also huge problems. I mean, people get into arguing. I work for an insurance company. I mean, people argue about all sorts of big money all the time. And there's a lot of nuances to it, but it could really impact skating. Like you might see fewer senior B events. Should the music thing become an issue, how are you going to fund a senior B event that no one attends if you're now paying for every single song and every single...
Well, we've even seen some sort of archived YouTube programs where they'll turn down the music in the middle. So there's not enough of the music being played, or they will alter the speed so it doesn't hit that same sort of frequency or whatever. But I'm just curious then. So, I mean, do you think that NBC, like the premium Peacock subscription, it's just like, okay, this is too messy for us, we're not going to mess with it? Because I also saw an announcement where they said they would cover, they would stream the US Figure Skating Classic. And then of course, when you go on there, there's nothing to be found since Worlds.
Well, they did stream it, but it was only showed live.
I see. So the replay is not available.
Replay is not available.
Oh. Well, that sort of defeats the
But yeah, if you want to go watch the juniors or the ladies, that's on US Figure Skating Fan Zone. So it gets to be a really tricky situation.
Yeah. I mean, half the battle in us even doing the show is trying to track down the clips we need. And again, we're the ultimate audience members because we know what we want, we're interested in seeing it. And yet it's difficult for us at times to unearth all the programs for the people we're interested in.
And other sports that are smaller actually provide links. So someone sent me a rhythmic gymnastics. He's one of our viewers, his name is Scott. He's watched us forever, really smart guy from California. He's a teacher. And he said, rhythmic gymnastics, they send you like an email or a post that says, watch this here. And this is the official organization. Now that's a smaller sport. One of the problems in figure skating is that there was money to be made, and there is money to be made in certain countries, but that people hang on to it and they like claw at it, right? So like the way some of the agencies work, right? There were big time wars between champions on ice and stars on ice and the contracts, right. Who like, and it still exists, like who goes to the Japan Open often has to deal with who their agent is. So that's why you won't see Yuzuru Hanyu there, but you will see, you know, a skater like Jeremy Abbott or Jeff Buttle, who's still represented by IMG. They will be placed there sometimes to perform. Yeah. It has to do with some of the shows in Japan, who is performing there, and it's all sorts of
messy.
It's messy, but it has to deal with like, you know, the last 5 cents being made in skating. Right.
I mean, and again, only to make sure that when that 5 cents is gone, there's nothing left. I mean, this is all, and I view this about that recording artist that's got his knickers in a twist too. I think this is all penny smart, dollar stupid. And it's just, if they're only going to air it live, there is no reason for me to have Peacock Premium. I can't, we all have lives, we all work.
You need to be watching Erica Jane, who's being sued for these earrings that she was wearing that were like 1 million, and she was wearing them on camera until the day they took them from her, and they were bought allegedly with money taken from her ex-husband, from like legal clients and widows and orphans. And she was like, well, he stole that money, not me. They were a gift to me. Why should I give up my earrings? Essentially. That's what you need to be watching.
Because you have morals? I don't know. Maybe? Yeah. It's the Paul Hamm argument with that medal. It's like, you could have come out here smelling like roses, but say goodbye.
And I loved his gymnastics. He doesn't have like the most engaging personality of all time. Remember how much positive press Michelle Kwan got when she was very gracious about the silver and said Tara deserved to win, whether she believed it in her heart or not, or whatever.
She did the classy thing.
She hadn't even seen the program yet, right? Like, you know, right? She did the sportsmanlike thing, which some countries don't believe in. Arina Slutskaya,
Yeah.
I've always thought that had Paul Hom, from a sport that people don't care about because they don't think that men's gymnastics is masculine, even though if you think about how physically demanding what they do.
Oh my God, those rings alone. Yeah, the most. Yeah.
I always have thought, had he just given that medal to that guy,
he would have had every speaking engagement.
Every speaking engagement
Yep.
for life.
Yeah.
Would he be happier now?
He'd be relevant.
Rather than win a medal, and then everyone's like, well, you won on a technicality, you had to fight, you're kind of in disgrace. I've always felt that.
Yeah.
No one remembers who he is.
Right.
Outside of us.
And if they do, it's not because of something good. It's not because of his great gymnastics.
Which was spectacular.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Although I understand that you're playing in a sport with rules and it's all sorts of messiness, but I've always felt that was a miscalculation. It doesn't make me not like him though, but I do think that he miscalculated that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. In the same way, quite frankly, it seems like Japan has been all but completely radio silent about the team event medal situation.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's because they're trying to appear classy and wait for it to sort of work itself out. And the Americans in general, I know that a couple fairly like voiced their frustration at the situation, but it didn't reek of sour grapes to me, where the Paul Ham thing did.
I imagine that the articles will go insane as soon as we get the Valyeva excuse, which we know that the Russians have concluded, although now they're entering another, I mean, this is delay. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like Darvo, that term in narcissistic abuse. I believe that is what we are in the midst of, like delay, attack, right? This is that kind of a situation. So yeah, just buckle up, wait for it. I mean, how about when, Jonathan, when I pointed out that Diana Davis got married, or that this was all about citizenship and they were being monitored by a US judge, there are people that were like, when they were at my ring, they're like, you're a stalker. Why are you so obsessed with this person? It's like, okay, there's a political situation going on. This is called reporting. And this is what is happening. Well, guess who is expected to compete in Ardmore, Pennsylvania this week?
Oh, could it possibly be Diana Davis trying to get those last qualifying points for US nationals?
Because she has to go through sectionals to get to nationals. Now, why didn't they get a bye from this situation? There's a rumor that Danny O'Shea might get a bye in pairs, although there are so many pair teams that have gotten together, split up, replacing people. I mean, there's
himself included. Yeah.
Pairs, I have to tell you, we haven't covered it in the last couple of weeks because it's a discipline that's like on life support right now. And it was already in trouble in terms of how many events were holding pairs of the Junior Grand Prix and the Senior B circuit. Remember, there was one year that a team withdrew, so no one got any points at a Senior B because there weren't enough teams to have points, and they have these rules that are based on the other disciplines but not on pairs. So there's a lot of issues in certain disciplines. I mean, it's really something. And I was concerned because thinking about, all right, we report on skating. Some disciplines, I truly believe cream will rise to the top, right? But I've always kind of felt like this Grand Prix season is going to be slow. Second half of the season will be good. This is going to be a struggle. Okay, we are going to be pushing this sport like a boulder up a hill.
Yeah.
Who do we have? We have Kaori and Wakaba. And then we have Lindsay and Isabeau. Maddie Skizas. Like, who are the stars? And Jonathan, how much do you trust Wakaba to deliver?
No, poor thing. I mean, but Japan, again, like some of the young talents are seeing the opportunity available. We'll talk about Rinka and then, of course, Monica Wabe and these sorts of people. And again, my girl Yelim Kim, I think, could really be making some moves this season. But for instance, Young Yu seems to be letting it go, a la
Young Yu had a really rough offseason. she also switched coaches. There's a whole political thing in Colorado where, remember when Victor Pfeiffer was like winning sectionals and then he moved over there. And remember Tom and Tammy pretended to work together for that was going to work for 5 seconds. I mean,
Right.
every top skater in the US is with Tammy Gamble. Now remember, Justin Dillon, who works under Mitch Moyer, who really works with single skaters in development, used to be Tammy's right hand. So politically, it's really great to go for Tammy Gamble, who maybe is the best maker of carrot cake we've ever had in America. Her recipe for carrot cake is like Karen Chen, Audrey Shin. Like,
Yeah, it's from a mold. It's from a mold. Yeah.
I think it's from a lack of technical expertise, Jonathan, but we can put it out there and we look the other way when a Tammy skater goes. But yeah, so young you switched from Tammy to Victor, as did another young skater. All of a sudden their skaters aren't working together so much anymore. Now that there's, when someone, you know these rinks, when someone becomes too big, doesn't happen.
Right.
I always pay attention in Hackensack, like when Anton goes out of town, I noticed, they said, oh, Roman, he didn't ask you to take his student, but he did ask Phil and Kevin to take his talented up and coming skater. What's that about? Like, yeah.
Is one a threat?
People play those games all the time. Roman was out of town. Julia was so excited to take me this week. I worked with Altiva.
I did see your Axel loop.
She was so determined to make me do that. Yes. I really enjoyed her aggressive energy.
Okay.
She was determined.
Okay.
You know what? It was a great time. That's all I'm gonna say. She was fun as hell. Okay.
Which does not always happen with aggression. Do you know what I mean? That aggressive approach can be very effective if the energy is still right for learning and exploring. But if it becomes too negative or toxic, to me, that aggression totally backfires.
No, she has there's a fire to her that I appreciate.
Okay.
You know, and you know, the funny thing about Julia is like, she's like really excited. So when you first meet her, you're like, wow, she talks like 2 seconds from your face. You know, like, you're like, but I kind of love it. You know,
okay.
All right. Like she's just passionate, Jonathan.
Which we love. Yeah.
I don't know if I would leave my skater with her out of town, but you know, Roman left me high and dry. He went to Lake Placid. So what is one?
Had to do something. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
amazing.
I know who's ranked. I mean, I judge every coach in that rink when I'm on a lesson, like who I think is good, who I think is good at what. Yes.
Just observing. Yeah. Yeah. Keen observations, Dave. That's great.
Well, the parents always ask me, they're like, oh, this one mom always messages me and she's like, the jumps got called under again. And I'm always afraid because I always know when she texts me, I'm like, you never know with anyone, like your text could wind up somewhere else. Right.
Right.
And I'm always like, have you considered working with this person? When I'm saying that to you, I'm saying run. Don't walk. Yeah. Okay. Like, do not pass go. Do not collect. Run. Okay. In the most diplomatic way possible.
Yeah.
That's all.
Which leads us seamlessly into, do you want to start in the US or do you want to start in Lombardia?
Who do you want to start with?
Let's go Lombardia, shall we?
Yes. Should we do the women? Because that's...
Yeah, that was sort of where the news was at.
Let's go. Can we start here?
Yeah, so the new look, Kaori, which I understood the rationale behind, and I thought, especially that red dress and the free skate, like it's a look. Well, actually, so was the short program. I enjoy the new aesthetic. Do you not?
Okay, thank God. Because can we talk about this? Jonathan. This is like our hope. This is the biggest female star in skating who she approached Marie France. Marie France told me to get the free program from her. She is like, this is our hope of being done with the Benoit era. Okay. We don't have to deal with Danny G right now. And Benoit is still with us, although Daniel Grosso went to Jason Brown and Kaori left the home of the Benoit bullshit. Do you notice that they are working on her upper body? They're trying to make her artistic. We're not seeing all those weird angles. Granted, she seems like she's spending so much time on the program and the choreography that maybe the jumps aren't as solid.
Yeah, it was just sort of an overall unfocused quality, but in the opening movements, especially in the free skate, you see that they're trying to, and we'll talk about this with some other skaters, get out of the in and down and go for the up and back. And sometimes you see where the growth is still possible. That's the thing that happens when you start to do this kind of work, is you do that new kind of movement. We are aware maybe why you weren't doing it before. And I see where there is room to improve, but it looks like now they're on the path to actually sort of maybe working on finishing those moves.
No, I believe that Kaori got the same Marie-France hairdo, and I don't know what came first. But Marie-France got highlights, and I would like her to go back to the dark color. I would like us to forget this era, and if she could please burn that jacket that she wore that looked like she was working in the library, it aged her like 50 years. And Marie-France, can you please go back to your dark hair, your pleather pants that you wore in the Tessa and Scott Roxanne documentary, and just this, I was troubled, but she looked tired when she has a million one teams. They have every country under the sun. Like, I was concerned. I would like her to match Kaori's color. Just listen. We want Marie-France looking good in the Kiss and Cry. Okay,
Agreed,
just we want her looking chic. Good. This jacket, it just, I was. It wasn't my favorite.
Who did Kaori's short program? Because I also enjoyed the short. Oh, I enjoyed that very much.
The ending pose.
Yeah, I thought maybe even more. I might even enjoy this program the most.
She made me feel young. This program has been like, she performed it first in Japan, and it looked like she had just finished it 15 minutes before she got on the ice. And it's like slowly gotten better. I'm on board now.
I'm totally on board.
Cautiously optimistic, and now I'm on.
Yeah, I think it's great. That the opening choreography, I think the music is excellent. Like, I think when this continues to, kind of get cooking, it's going to be a real moment.
And I thought Roheen has really evolved, because sometimes when we saw Roheen in the past, when Roheen first had Jason and then everyone used Roheen, it sometimes would look like some of the step sequences would maybe look better on Roheen than on the actual person, with some of like the high kicks that Jason can do, because he and Roheen are two of the most talented, flexible skaters of all time. Maybe Courtney Hicks and Mariah Bell are not, comparatively.
Perhaps.
At that time. I'm talking about which every choreographer goes through this stage, okay? When they all, especially now, when you go with, you can get a choreographer from any country, which was not a thing in 1980, right? You start to see that a choreographer, like, maybe some moves become more repetitive because all of a sudden they have to do so many programs. This, Andrew will tell you, every choreographer goes through this, right?
Of course, how could you not? Do you know what I mean? And he's out on the ice with them and experimenting, all that sort of stuff. I mean, so I mean this as a positive, is I couldn't tell right away it was Roheen. Whereas again, like you were saying, it was so obvious, oh, that's a Roheen program. And I thought it really catered to Kaori specifically. So it was nice to see him work with the person in front of him. And I think that's where some of the choreographers really, for me, make that misstep, is when they're trying to fit a program onto a skater instead of picking a program and movement that will enhance that individual's.
I mean, how many times you're like, oh, that's a Benoit program,
right? Or that would look great if so-and-so skated that program.
It's like when you're on the ice at the ice house and you don't know the skaters, and you're trying to guess where the skater is going. These Nina footwork sequences, they retrogress, they go left, right, back, forth, north, south. That's a Nina program, okay? I don't know where the skater is going. It's unexpected. Okay.
Expect the unexpected with a Nina footwork sequence. All you want
is to survive and not have a Russian lady yell at you. Okay. Very possible.
Words to live by, Dave. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So I really like the Kaori programs. We just need to give it some more time. I think give her until the Grand Prix final. I think that she will make it through the Grand Prix. We need to make sure she makes the final. and let her, because I think that there will be like a new skater. I think we could get 1 or 2 seasons out of her as like the leading lady before some whippersnapper.
And this takes time. If it was that easy a fix, everyone would just do it. But it takes time to kind of tackle what she's setting out to do. And so even in the free skate, when I saw the opening moves and I was like, oh, I'm sure eventually she will like breathe into those and extend those a little bit more. But then when she was doing the entrance, I think it was into her Lutz in the free skate, holy cow, the positions going into it, there was like a sort of a transitional sort of choreographic moment. She nailed it. So I see the potential in all of it. Yeah. So even though again, it seemed somewhat unorganized in her body as of yet, I think, like you're saying, I think it's going to all settle in and be worth the wait.
Yeah.
So
okay, we have to talk about it.
I know.
Why was Wakaba there? At a certain point, you need to know when she's coming back from injury.
And you can't possibly have trained through, you know what I mean? So understandably, you will be less trained than you would have been otherwise.
Here's her problem. And I'm going to say why I don't think that she should have done it, because her fans are going to be like, don't attack her. She was injured. I understand it.
I am her fan, but I still don't want to see her struggle.
What is Wakaba's reputation?
To struggle. That inconsistency.
Right now, she looks like she hasn't trained, doesn't have her jumps consistent enough for competition. We saw her rotate some, fall, under rotate, pop a lot.
Lots of doubles, yeah.
Doubles with a high free leg. Like, she doesn't look ready. And I don't know if she can be ready for her first Grand Prix. You start to think, is she going to be there? She needs to just train.
Yeah.
She just time. Get to the second half of the season. The Grand Prix is unlikely to be her moment because of how she looks right now.
And she has stiff competition.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because first of all, you've also got, to me, there were sort of like 2 skaters that got done dirty by last season, and Mai Mihara was one of them. You know what I mean? I think the skating world owes Mai Mihara some goodwill this season, and I think she will come out ready to deliver, as clearly will Rinka, as will Monica Wabe, as you know. I think, as always, there's a crop.
And Wakaba's coach has a skater who can do a quadruple. So, and coaches do start to have enough, right? So if you're Wakaba's coach, this is human nature. This is not right. You have 2 skaters. You have one who's been with you forever. You've been through 2 Olympic cycles, but you've been on the roller coaster.
You've had high highs, but you have had low lows.
And you had worlds which didn't happen, right? And then you have another skater who's an upstart, who's delivering, who got NHK. You can just kind of see how this starts to happen.
Yeah.
And then you start to say, how many good more seasons is Wakaba going to have? Now in Japan, skaters stay for as long as Fumie Saguri. They just with disciplines. Like, I think Morin Honda's really going to make it happen this year. John.
Okay, this is her year. Okay, God, wouldn't it be nice if it was? But yeah,
you know, she's one of my favorites. Ever.
I know.
But yeah, used to be like, okay.
It was a tough watch because I do root for her, and I just saw someone who just wasn't ready.
But it reinforces.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it's an injury. That's why I think you stay home and you don't go out there and be like.
Which to me falls on the coach too, I would think. I don't know how pushy the federation felt about it, but a federation that cares about their skaters, which from the outside, it would seem that the Japanese Federation does, you would think that they're in it for the long haul. They're not in it for Lombardia. Do you know what I mean? They want to see the longevity through the season, but yeah.
I mean, that was tough.
Because even if she heals now, you now have the mental hurdle for the season in these programs already. But
then the US, we have Amber Glenn, who delivers a free skate. You have Hannah Harrell, who delivers a short. It's not delivering both. Really, what Justin Dillon, I think, should be doing, I would require a full run through, knowing that it's going to be scored by Lori Parker or a different judge each week, knowing that when you are being selected for a world team, we're going to add your points from week to week. And that's going to be some percentage of who is going to a competition. This is what I would do. And knowing that you have to, at a certain time, deliver a program and we're going to score it.
Yeah.
Boom. You want to be in the ISP? This is what you want to do. You want to be funded? You have to do it, because some of these skaters, I'm sorry, showing up unprepared.
Yeah, again, especially the American skaters, especially, there is such an opportunity here and everyone just keeps letting it slip away. I mean, this was the closest triple axel I've ever seen her attempt, I think, in competition. I thought, what a new and interesting twist that she decided something slow and emo musically was going to be a nice fit. That was a real lovely twist to see. But also... How do you go to a new team and you're like, I'm going to emerge as this new athlete and do the same damn thing again? And I don't think she responds to it. She may respond to it in like an emotional way. Maybe she connects with that music at home, but like, this is like an aggressive athlete. Give her something that inspires her to go fast, to fight, to deliver. All of the landings just a little bit short, and she covers them up with like choreographic gestures. Like, we don't know that the landing did go the way she wanted. But yeah, it's another one that just seems to be caught in this cycle, not dissimilar to a Wakaba, although Wakaba's highs were higher, but I just find it just so cyclical for her.
It's unfortunate not watching her train every day, and Colorado doesn't have live barns, so we can't do that because we watch Gracie. Let me tell you, I am on that train. That is event television. Okay, and
the training is working. She is the only US athlete taking advantage.
When Gracie does the program and doesn't quit, she looks like the best skater in the country.
She arguably still is,
depending on who the caller is for Isabeau.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Listen, the one thing Gracie doesn't have is that the Isabeau spins. I mean, her back has been through how many years of doing those triple L's?
Right.
But Gracie's got real jobs.
Yeah.
And when she believes in herself, and I just want to say, I begged her choreographer, I said, take out that back spiral before the spin Lutz that she missed at Boston Worlds, because every time she would do it, you would see her go to the front of her toe pick, slow down, and then double the Lutz. They changed it. She's doing triple Lutz, double axel, double toe. Okay, look, incredible.
Go ahead on.
If she like believes in herself and keeps pushing, I think by the time you get to later in the season, she could be all of these girls. Okay, if she believes in herself.
Because the ingredients are certainly there. They always have been. That the ingredients were never the issue. But
so, a lot of these skaters, you'd be surprised not doing the full programs every day. I mean,
which it seems such an easy thing that you are in control of and can do, that will all but reassure that you do better. It's baffling to me. Mm-hmm. Like, what is it you're doing instead? Just drills? The formula doesn't seem to be working, whatever it is.
You'd be surprised how many I mean, it's very psychologically hard to do your program every day, but that's why you do it, right? And then it becomes less hard.
Yes. It's like taking the ankle weights off.
Remember, Nancy had this problem. Remember how well Nancy did in 94? Yes, she had some bumps along the way. She fell up here wet, then the short, nailed the long, right? But this is how she did that program at the 94 Olympics. It wasn't magic.
Right.
Okay. But remember when the triple axel 96 had her 92 Worlds free skate practice? Nancy would stop her program, skate over the boards, and start laughing after she missed a jump. Well, how did she skate in competition? Like a train wreck. How she
laughably,
some of those world medals. I mean, Tanya had some reason to be a little mad.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Same thing in 93. It was very clear, but we don't all have a Mrs. Chin to remind us why that happens.
That's correct. Oh man.
On that note, here
I bit my tongue so hard there was like blood coming out.
Wait, I'm curious to get your take on Rinka.
Loved her.
Yeah. Very pretty, nice landing positions, nice edges. What I will say, she does these beautiful, crisp arm movements where she finishes the movement. I get a little bit of concentration face, where I see her so focused that I lose the face a little bit. But what's happening in the arms and in the blade work, it's really lovely. And then she was the one. How do you feel?
Do you have a gay choreographer yet? I don't know. Usually the girls come alive, you know, in Korea, they're like, you need more personality. We're going to send you to David Wilson, right?
Amazing. He'll shimmy it out of you. Yeah, okay.
Yuna. Like,
I was going to ask, I mean, it's interesting because you brought up now Gracie is doing one. She also does one of the sequences where she'll do, I think it was an edge jump, and then she turns around and does the double axel. This is more popular, obviously, now than when we first started like watching the sport. They're not always elegant combos to me.
I don't know,
just by the nature.
Love it so much more than a 3-jump combo where you're like, oh my God, is Mariah going to do the double toe, double loop, and are they going to be clean, right?
Yeah, and are they just spinning on the ice now? Yeah.
I find it really thrilling when you watch someone land a huge jump and they throw themselves into a double axel. Granted, they're not always the most like,
yeah, it's not always as seamless as some of the other combinations, sort of.
But I like it better than a triple double double. I really do.
Yeah, and quite frankly, better than some of the very effort-filled Oilers.
Jonathan, I hate to do an Oiler. I hate to watch an Oiler. I hate the fact that the Oiler is called the Oiler. I hate the fact that we are now judging the Oiler. Okay, somehow a cheated half loop can look less awkward than a fully rotated Oiler. Like, it's just, I don't enjoy any of it. Okay,
yeah,
it's just not my thing.
It looks so effortful, and it's as if each skater, regardless of ability, when they do it, you hear like a like to try to reposition themselves for the next one. But yeah, it was just
I don't enjoy an Oiler. I don't.
Yeah,
we all have things. Some people like Diet Coke, some people don't. Some people like coffee, some people are headless.
I was like, some people are nuts, I guess.
I mean, the Oiler, I don't, any rule that I don't like in skating, I automatically blame Megan Duhamel. I don't know, because she was so good at the good rules. I just like, I don't know why. I'm like, Megan.
Amazing. Okay.
Blame Canada. Mohawk, C-step, S-step, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Canada. All right, this is ridiculous.
The other thing that surprised me here was I did watch Kudakova because, you know, she got so much goodwill at Europeans last year. And I was sitting there, I was like, this music is ridiculous. It sounds like the soundtrack to Up. And then it was the soundtrack to Up. And but yet, I was like, are those supposed to be balloons on the door? That threw me for a loop. But yeah,
it is a traumatic film, okay?
If you make it past the first 5 minutes without crying, you're not human.
You know what I realized? I don't think I've ever seen Bambi all the way through because it was such a childhood trauma.
Yeah, it's dark.
I may have to add that to my list for EMDR. Bambi, right? Like, that is like, what do you have to do? I mean, my goodness, this is just.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Let's watch a video about grandparents kicking the butt.
Dying. Yeah.
Thank you, Benoit. Thank you. Okay.
Well, and then interpreting it as if it was just an Edith Piaf soundtrack. Like as if it was just, you know, French accordion music, you know, it wasn't quite working for me. But so now I'm intrigued. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the ladies in the US International Classic. Because I was having a moment kind of watching Yelim Kim. Okay. And I'm going to own that I've always kind of liked her perhaps more than others have. She's been the one that excites me the most. Also, she won extra points because, so, you know, music is how I emote. It's how I communicate. It's all this sort of stuff. So I have playlists based on my emotions, and I do have a playlist called Crying. So like when you know it's like right under the surface, you got to let out some stuff.
You share these on iTunes?
Oh, I don't know if they are on iTunes, but I would share them. I have these like great pieces.
I mean, the one, it was like very Marie France 2017. Oh yeah.
Oh, but you know, and then the minute that music plays anywhere, it can transport you back to wherever you're accustomed to feeling those things. And for me, her short program music is legit on my crying playlist.
You know, your body remembers. If you have a somatic therapist, Jonathan, your body remembers. Okay?
I'm reading The Body Keeps the Score. It's blowing my mind. So, but
this is what I do when I get worked up on the ice. Okay. You breathe in and you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Exhale. You have to do it 3 times. When Yuri is screaming at you and you do that, you can attempt to jump again.
You can resettle the body. Yeah, I think that's amazing. Yeah. I believe in that stuff. I think that's real. Yeah.
I do that at an ice rink when the Russians are screaming all the freaking time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The breathing
for my bad elements in between. Mm-hmm.
Also, that tongue on the roof of your mouth, you're lifting your palate. You can sing a nice high note afterwards.
Who are we discussing? Sorry.
Yeah. Yelim skating to my crying playlist. I just, you know, I felt she was someone that was a little bit underscored and underrated in general last season, in my opinion. And, you know, she had some struggles in the short program, but was still fighting. And the step work sequence that came after her pop was even better than what was coming before. And I thought the free skate also, like, her jumping is so a part of her program. So it happens, her rotation is so fast that it's just a seamless part of the pattern, where so many, like we were talking about even with Isabeau or someone like that, the spell is broken, sets up the jump, does something labored, and then rejoins the program. And that seamless in and out of jumps, I think, is what IJS said the whole point was, is sort of what she's achieving in it. There's something so gentle about her movement. It's as if, like I wrote, it's as if she jumps into the air and the wind is rotating her in this like beautiful breezy way. Of course, she did pull a Midori Ito moment and slammed into the boards, you know, with the side. But so I'm excited for her. She is someone that has sort of reignited an interest in the season for me in the ladies event.
Listen. Based on the audience of this competition, and the numbers have been down without Russia.
Oh, I was like, what audience? Okay.
We didn't even know this event was happening. The US, we've talked about this, how they are doing nothing to generate interest. The men's competition was held on a Tuesday. I mean, what is going on? Okay.
Yeah.
We need 2 Japanese ladies on the podium. Yelim Kim or Young Yu, okay?
Yelim Kim.
Sponsoring skating. You need Japan. You need Korea versus Japan, like fighting it out like they used to with Mao and Yuna. Doesn't matter, okay? Drama fuels interest. It sells, people. And you know what? We need good skating. This is like on life support in the US right now. You need these women to deliver, okay? Yeah.
And I think Yelim can. What I was surprised by was seeing Young Yu, who really sort of, you know, solidified her sort of leading status in Korea last season. This was a real miss. The programs were a real miss for me.
I liked the short music, but she needs to perform more. I'm not sure if her choreographer is gay or if she visits him enough, whatever the
okay. Well, because it got there in the end. The very end of the program suddenly started clicking, but it really dragged until those final moments. Like I was almost like checking the time. I was like, how much longer is this?
She had lost her jumps over the summer and is getting them back. So that's the first thing that
I see. Okay. And then that would track because it was ultimately after most of the jumping passes were over and she got into the step sequence that I saw a real performer emerging. And then I would have been more on board.
Be surprised that she lost her jumps in the off season when, how many times have we asked over the last 2 seasons, why are the Koreans competing every freaking weekend? Why are they competing in June? Why are they doing
Total burnout. Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised that we're in this situation where Young Yu is rebuilding. I'm really not. This is what is destined to happen, whether she was injured, whether it was emotional, mental, like any of this is completely understandable when you think of how many times they even had to compete. Remember when Yelim Kim was looking like $1 million in 2021 before the Worlds, and then we got to the Worlds and it was like, oh, if you did any of those,
because the lead up to Worlds was 85 competitions we'd never heard of.
And then people be like, oh, well, the Russians are so much better than everyone. It's like, well, actually, if the Korean Federation took a chill pill and like calmed it down a little bit with like 95 competitions, you might have seen another skater get in there.
Right. They were following the Elizaveta Meldonium schedule.
Yes.
But without the Meldonium. Do you know? So there was no recovering. Like you would just see all of them week after week, and they each one got more and more tired. So I'm glad you reminded me of that, because my main takeaway was one of disappointment for Young Yu, because I wanted something greater, but to hear that she was struggling with getting the jumps back and all of these sort of things makes me
maybe
more
later
optimistic.
in the season. Remember, people also get post-Olympic depression. Athletes talk about that can take up to 2 years. Remember, Michelle skipped the Grand Prix after the '98 Olympics. So there's a lot of, remember, she skipped the Grand Prix, chopped her hair off, had the boy haircut era going on. I mean, people go through it after the Olympics. Alexa is maybe on vacation. We don't know, right?
Amazing.
So, but I think when you look at this, she still has talent, not the best performer. No one has ever accused her of being this. She never also had any consistently rotated triple axel or quad. So, this is, but she would attempt them. So she's clearly.
Although I have to say, her step sequence at the end of the free skate was the most promising performing I had ever seen from her.
I thought she
but
actually
I'm hashtag Team Yelim. Yeah.
But you see her go in and out. But the thing that's interesting about Yelim is, remember how we kind of enjoyed COVID and a lot of other people were really struggling?
We enjoyed COVID?
I didn't mind it.
What do you mean? Like the actual lockdown working from home part?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I didn't miss anyone in the office.
Oh. Don't be ridiculous.
Like 1 or 2 people, but no.
Yeah. No. I can just be on Zoom and wear shorts. This is great.
I found so many things to do with my time. Other people were like, you remember she was like the boring pewter medalist energy kind of skater from Korea. COVID happens, she becomes this athletic, big triple. Talk about someone who made the most out of COVID, like the before and after with Yelim Kim.
Yes.
Something that doesn't get a lot of attention. She went
the height and rotation of those jumps on those triples in particular are just bam. It's so good. From
being a Maria Sutskova, Brady Tennell type to like a Yelim Kim type. Is Yuna Kim jealous of her triple Lutz triple toe? Because she should be. All right.
Yeah.
That is an incredible combination. So, I mean,
and then it was interesting because then we have Monica Wabe here, who's also going to be in the mix, obviously with this lineup in Japan. I'm curious where you think she falls, for instance, say against someone like Rinka. If I'm considering in my own fake world that Kaori and Mai Mihara, I think maybe easily leading the pack. The ones I'm less sure of, I don't know what to expect from Wakaba. Obviously, this weekend was not what we had hoped from her, but understandably so. But I'm interested in the Rinka versus Mana situation to sort of see how they duke it out throughout the season.
I would give an edge maybe to Rinka, but she's had one standout event, so we will see. I don't know. We saw so much with Mana last season. It depends. Is she going to take that experience and catapult forward? Is it going to be more of the same? I don't know. Yeah. She also made a coaching change. So, I mean, it's...
And we have yet to see the triple axel, I think. So, which was, I think, a big part of her edging out Mai last season.
Also, Rika Kihira has been posting like herself jumping, but then posting about her injuries. She did an Axel that looked a little frightening. It didn't look. I don't expect to see her at her Grand Prix.
I wouldn't think so,
but she's listed.
Okay.
So, and it's like she's talked about a comeback, but that injury seems severe.
Yeah.
And like it's going on for a long time, which is worrisome. So, also, I haven't watched the Papadakis and Cizeron documentary yet, but you do know that the internet exploded with that this week.
No, I didn't know that was a thing. Where is it?
Well, there's the version in French that you can watch, but there was a translated version. I think it got taken down. I didn't see it in time.
Is the French one on YouTube? Because don't they auto-generate the subtitles?
The French one is through the French broadcaster. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
But what made the news is that Gabby announced that she had had an abortion before the 2021 World Championships and that she was afraid to tell her coach and partner.
Oh my God. Oh my God, the trauma of going through that alone and competing without any support from them?
Well, she was afraid of the support. I don't know that it's unclear. Again, I don't know French, like the translation, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
Oh, my heart breaks for her.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's just like a really, it was very.
Wow, this isn't just a fluffy documentary, which we see so much of. I just practiced really hard. The Olympics are fun. Wow, they just went for it.
So, yeah. And remember, she had had a really bad bout of COVID. She had lost her taste and smell for a long time. So that is really.
And wasn't she the one that had the concussion the season before?
Yes,
COVID?
and then she had anxiety in 2020. I mean, you talk about someone that was
no wonder, yeah,
2019, and then really started to go through it. And I think someone was telling me a story where they didn't know if she was going to be able to go to Europeans. So I think it was a real struggle over 2 years.
Oh.
My heart goes out to her, and that's
of course.
And then you start to think like that kind of a trauma where you're like, okay, you've worked your whole life for the Olympics, and then you have to make a decision about a pregnancy, and you have a partner, and you have this. And in skating, you have to think about this. The weaker partner, or who is thought to be, so you're skating with Guillaume, who's thought to be a legend. They are told that they're the weaker one all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
Well, remember, we were getting those reports of like, are they quitting? Are they not coming back? Like there seemed to be some real struggles that were happening behind the scenes that clearly we did not know about. I did not realize they were so severe. Yeah.
It was just, you think about that. That's just like a really upsetting thing. So,
tough.
And I'm sure people are coming for her partner or her coach or whoever, right? And it's just like situation we don't know a lot about, but I'm sure we'll hear about this in due time. That's one of the things that really exploded on the internet this week.
Okay.
So,
okay. I'll have to look for it. Which then brings us to ice stands, because I thoroughly enjoyed Gibson and Fear, more so from this camera angle, because we got a different camera angle when we saw them at the Britannia or whatever that was called, that event. So for instance, even the barrier work, before we sort of saw it from the audience view, so we just saw the heads dip and stuff. So it was nice to be able to see those from the other side.
And you know, the Shinamano of ice dance was the caller.
Oh, and?
The icy blonde who's tough with everyone. Ms. Kristen Fraser.
Amazing. Okay, well, they'll know where they stand. Yeah.
I asked one skater, I said, how was she? Well, she wasn't nice. She really is. I mean, if there's.
But again, as long as it's consistent, we don't run into those issues necessarily.
This girl wanted to be top 10 in ice dance their whole career. An assistant coach screwed them over one year at Europeans, and they wound up 11th at Worlds. Allegedly.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
And they were maybe better skaters than Janet and Ben if you look from the feed down. Just allegedly,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Those politics work in ice dance.
We sure do, especially then. Yeah.
Especially that. Yeah. So yeah.
But I enjoy both programs very much. And again, speaking of partners that are just inherently one in a million, I think she has found that in him. But she's doing good work.
He deserves a salary for how good he is. I mean, he is rich. Yeah. When they used to rent a Russian, I mean, do you buy a Brit? Because he is
rent a Gibson. Yeah.
How much
he is sensational
for that? Yeah.
Whatever he needed, because it is sensational. The only part where I see it, the thing that draws me to her, where she's just a little bit different, even in those opening moves, he is so open and flexible. And I just wonder if her like shoulder blades could be more flexible or something. That's where I see a bit of her rigidity, where he is so fluid.
They're in Montreal. Call Sasha Alacolumbre. He's got some private classes. You live down the street from David Beckham. Lilah, Sasha's on Instagram. Go find him. Work on that. Marie France, arrange this. Okay, Jonathan, more
just some sort of flexibility in that shoulder blade.
He does an eccentrics class for the shoulders. It's on Eccentrics TV. You can do it.
Okay.
15 minutes. Oh, pull him back, Jonathan. I have tight shoulders. Might have done it a couple times.
Well, and I hunch, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm not an ice dancer.
The one thing is, I think they've got the best packaging in ice dance. I mean, they look $1 million. They have the most fun programs. I think the crowd is going to get behind them. They've both improved. Remember, he was a single skater. She's actually gotten a lot better. And you can really see the improvement from the beginning of last season to now. When they did the Twizzles in the Lion King last year, I remember white knuckling it.
Yeah.
Tom. Yeah. Now they're doing an illusion in the middle.
And then afterwards in the rhythm dance, I think he does that sort of like solo city twizzle that's just so amazing. And it's like, yeah, let him have a moment where he shows it off, and then let's keep going. And they place the twizzles so well with the music. So you just get energy, speed, and excitement from the music already. So they're already winning the twizzle before they even actually execute them.
One of the twizzles scares me a little bit on whether or not they're going to be credited, because they do the leg out.
Right.
And the leg can dip in between the twists, and it's supposed to stay up.
Okay.
The feature, but they also do, with the arms, they go for the continuous motion, which is fun. Although some people are like, why are there so many arms in skating these days? Well, it is a feature of the twizzles to have continuous.
It's a part of your body. I don't know. Do you want everyone to do river dance? We already have one. You know what I mean? Like, let's see some arm. That doesn't bother me at all.
Did you hear that Brooke Tufts wanted to do river dance next year? I said, you're not happy like that. No, you're from Jersey.
She's too good for that. She's better than that.
What is she
doing?
That's
a gimmick. It's a gimmick piece, and she doesn't.
She's going to a drag brunch today. I hope she'll be inspired. Okay.
Yeah, get something fierce, bro. She's too good for river dance.
What the heck are you? No. Okay.
Yeah. Be better, Brooke.
Igor signs off on that. I'm going to scream at him.
Okay? Yeah, come on. Even if that's the vibe you want or the driving energy you want, you can find it in something much more interesting and chic sounding than that. Yeah.
Also, if you think that Christian is brutal when she's judging you, imagine her coaching you. This boy, Will, who's like such a hard worker, he got he passed one of his dance tests with high honors. And Kristen was like, well, I didn't agree with some of those key points. Incredible. This is why we love her. All right.
I'm happy. Don't be too happy.
Her
yeah.
years on moves and spins, right? After nationals this year, we started working on stroking exercises because I let her take the reins. She literally point blank goes to me, oh, I didn't know you could actually skate. She like, not shady, just blunt. Okay.
Yeah, didn't realize that was there to work with. Okay. Show me how to bring it out. Yeah.
We love her.
You know where she stands.
You know where she stands. She's very direct.
Okay. Okay.
she's the thought leader, Igor's the executor. Okay.
That's so funny.
Wait, now I'm like, you know why? He's like, they love her on those panels. No one wants to argue with her. She's the only one who knows the rules.
Well, that's right. You can.
I had a friend that got monitored by 3 people about new rules in ice dance, and she was the only one that called it as it is. And Sean Redstadt, who's the head, who said, yeah, she's right.
That's the job.
Yeah,
that's who you want. I mean, now that's someone then, I'm intrigued what someone like Kristen then thinks of the Italian ice dancers. Because the Italian ice dancers, for me, although maybe sometimes leaves me a little more flat in the overall arcing material than some others, I have a feeling they're checking every box on Kristen's worksheet.
Unfortunately,
or whatever. Say it
the
again.
packaging is not there. She's way too tall for him, which creates, when they're in hold, it creates like a mismatch of the look.
And he's another one because he's amazing. He knows how to move and wiggle and do all this sort of stuff.
But a couple, I never got that from their chemistry, but they're a couple. Yes. It was
really no. That surprises me too.
Seeing the 2 of them in the rhythm dance, that was a surprise. Okay. Now,
they leave it at home. They don't bring it to work. But unfortunately, we'd love for them to bring it to work. Yeah.
No, apparently, they're like schmaltzy with each other and they kiss and cry. But because we've been so like mind numbed by their performances before, I don't know that I've always made it.
That just seems Italian, doesn't it? Just friendly and touchy. Yeah. That's just Mediterranean. Yeah. I felt like it was clear they were trying to up the energy for them with the music choices. Like I could see on paper what sort of ideas were at play here and making them a little bit more edgy and presentational. I think it's more of the same. But again, I think where they can win out are with people like Kristen on the panel, because I do think that they are very meticulous in how their levels are being called and how all of these things are being assessed. Where, like you say, that's where Fear and Gibson might run into an issue or two, even though I inherently respond to their material more. Now, I think the Italians are in it.
If you remember, the one thing I'll say is that Marie-France once infamously told me that she does not do politics. And I remember that. Okay. Yeah. But I will say, they do have teams from the USA, Canada, France, Great Britain, Lithuania, Korea, Japan, China, Ukraine, Estonia, Italy, Azerbaijan, Germany, and now Australia. I mean, so that is the one hope that we could have, that Lilah and Louis will become the European champions this season, because
we'll see.
We'll see. You look at when they do the partial step sequence, they lean on
Fear and Gibson, Dave?
Yes, they do lean on each other more when doing the turn. I mean, Jonathan, of course I would lean on you because you're so handsome if we were skating.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
But like if I was gonna do my Choctaw, I might lean on you a little extra just so I can get that real deep outside edge, right?
Yeah.
That
drive home that key point. Yeah.
Like toe pushes more, or like little bit to get the speed. You know, if you notice, the step sequences and holds that we used to see during the Meryl and Charlie, Tessa and Scott days are kind of a thing of the past. They're kind of, there's more side-by-side skating, but we do see far less of that happening. The Italians just have like better skating skills.
I think it's they give you permission.
But it's an entertainment sport, right? And do you want to watch what was that free dance the Italians did?
Yeah, the rhythm dance was a little bit more interesting.
My brother and sister Czech team also had a rhythm dance that was the most interesting sibling dynamic I've seen since the Hubbles. Okay. Who are both great skaters in their own right. Okay. The Hubbles. Yeah. Love them, just not together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you.
Or do you want to see Lilah and Louis go up against the boards and
have a blast?
Yes.
And have that sort of intoxicating energy of enjoyment of what they're doing. Yeah.
Were earrings real? I wanted to know. I just was intrigued. Okay.
How did you feel about the Charlie White teams? Did you like what they were wearing?
Charlie has a real aesthetic for ice dance. And I thought that it was just Ian Somerville. And remember last year at National,
It's literally it's like a clone. Yeah.
I remember texting you being like, why does this boy wear an open button-down shirt with a t-shirt underneath in every
hair? And the hair is the same as Charlie. Yeah.
Then we see Jeffrey Chen moves to Tanith and Charlie. He's wearing the same damn thing. I was like, oh, Charlie really likes the wind. I guess Charlie's poofy hair as an ice dancer. Remember he had the crazy hair?
Yeah.
I think that was like an aesthetic.
Well, in the same way when they do like the extra flowy fabric to indicate speed, as they're going, I think the hair in its own way does something similar.
I always thought Charlie was a fake laugh and big hair. But now you see like he's got like, he looks like school picture day. He doesn't have that crazy hair. That was ice dance hair. That was illusion. Okay. Yeah. For wind. And he likes his boys to have the flowing shirt action going.
Right.
Although it did make Jeffrey Chen look more powerful. Because I remember last year thinking he needed more oomph. It looked like it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
interesting.
Very intrigued.
Because again, even like you're talking about a choreographer's trajectory about, are you choreographing for yourself through someone else, or when do you cross that bridge when you understand how to just work with who's in front of you? And I think that's a little bit what we're seeing with Charlie. There's clearly a formula that he was taught that he is now passing on, and that sort of lineage is amazing. But I think at some point he will know how to work more the individual aspects of who he's working with.
And I think Tanith will handle the politics so well.
Yes, and press.
She always has. She always has, right? Because I worry, like, is Gibois getting too big with the Scott Moyer teams? It's interesting to watch Charlie versus Scott. Who has the better? This is going to be an interesting.
This will be the interesting season for Montreal again, because now everyone has like shifted up. So we're sort of seeing what they can do with some of the teams that didn't have as much time before.
You know why we're going to care about ice dance? As soon as Diana Davis competes, there are people that think that the Browns are better skaters than Diana. Doesn't frickin' matter. The judges that are behind Diana and Gleb, honey. The Browns don't have a political force behind them. That is just like, you kiss them goodbye. All right.
Yeah.
That's like Tanya Kwiatkowski going against Nicole Bobek. I'm sorry. Okay.
Right. Or one would say Lisa Irwin going against Tanya Harding, but they still sent Lisa. Good one, USFS.
Oh, but Lisa's so much fun and she's hilarious. So,
okay. So it all worked out.
I totally agree with you. Okay.
Yeah. That's why we like her. Yeah.
I would hate Lisa for going. They sent Tanya Kwiatkowski, and she's the one that didn't make it out of qualifying.
There it is.
At least Lisa did well at nationals 2 years in a row. I mean,
all those doubles.
No, she did triples up to flip. I think in '93, it was Tanya who was the one that was like really. Tanya Tonia was the one that shouldn't have been at the Worlds.
I still would have sent her.
Yeah, but Lisa was second.
Yeah.
You'd have sent Harding. Wait, you'd have sent Kwiatkowski, Harding, and Nancy. We had 3 spots.
Oh yeah.
You'd have sent Kwiatkowski.
Oh, over Irving? No. I would have sent. I would have sent Tanya.
Yes, I would have sent Tanya as well. I have a brain.
Sorry, Tanya Harding. I would have sent
Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
I have a brain. Okay.
Yeah. And they did.
I would have made her send me at least one long program a week. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, even Lisa and Tanya Kwiatkowski at their finest, you guys. And in an Olympic qualifying year, that decision still rubs me wrong, but whatever.
I would have sent Tanya Harding to that Olympics and to that Worlds with as many packs of cigarettes as she wanted, okay, and as many inhalers. I mean, I believe in talent, okay, and training. All right.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That world. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Well, and then you know what? Actually,
I was gonna say, wait. Diana Davis and Gleb posted it. A video of Ana's perspectives. He didn't post it, they did, right? Of their rhythm dance, and they posted it the day after a Not Lisha. Remember, because I'm going to do, there's an I told you so as the blade turns coming, because like
you think, yeah,
because also the Hungarian Federation is becoming an outpost of Russia, like
right.
And remember when Tarasova was in Montclair and I showed up for that? Oh, now some of the Plushenko skaters happen to be representing Israel. It's funny how.
What a coincidence. Isn't that uncanny?
Tarasova says it's fine. Remember, she was like really against Russians changing citizenship before. Now it's fine as long as these, the Hungarians are just taking skaters that we didn't need. So they're just helping us out. Maybe the Russians can't fund everyone. So the lower.
No kidding. Yeah.
But also Lakernik, who was ISU vice president, is now an honorary member of the Hungarian Federation, will probably have citizenship within 3 to 4 months. It's all coming, okay? Yeah. There's lots to unpack.
And again, I just have no idea why there was such backlash about the Diana and Gleb situation when so clearly it's going exactly as you said it would.
Now in Hungary, the Hungarian team, who is like Hungarian, they're coached by Irina Zsuk, who's good friends with the head of the Hungarian Federation, the maker of Stepanova, Queen of Skating Skills. So that is the situation there, because that's Vayner's good friend. So
do you know what skater I always think of when I think of Hungary? Was it Christina Jocko?
The Adams family, remember
Yes, but she was Hungarian, wasn't she? Didn't she represent Hungary?
So, and then Julia Sebastian,
yeah.
And it was Kristina Zaka, right, with the
and it was like a CZ or something like that. Yeah. And I always remember she was in like the Beverly Smith book and like some leather jacket and a poodle skirt.
Didn't she go to the Olympics at like 12? Yes, she's a former Hungarian skater. She's the 1997 European silver medalist and the 1994 Skate Canada International Champion. She won Skate Canada the year that all of a sudden skating mattered.
Yeah. Amazing.
I don't even know if I have a VHS tape of the 94 Skate Canada. I don't know. Okay.
Well, the whole Grand Prix leading into that NHK leading into the 94 Olympics has always been missing.
Remember, I got the Japanese coverage of NHK and it doesn't have Tanya Harding on it. It was like, I was so excited to get it. I got a guy that has an Angel Fire website that has like old converted videos. It doesn't have Tanya on it.
How is that possible? Okay. Who else was there? Yuka?
Yeah. And Surya, I think.
And Surya, which every time I see Lilah Fear's hair in that kind of like ponytail situation, it's all I think of is Surya.
And then Deanna did it, and then Madison Chalk did it, and then
Surya did it first.
I'm excited for Madison Chalk this season. The programs are supposed to be good. There's some David Bowie rhythm dance. There's some mystical free dance situation happening.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Tim Coletto and Masato do have that Fifth Element program, which I didn't like on Trusova, and I stand by that I'm not a Fifth Element fan.
Yeah.
Not my jam. Okay.
And please stop pretending that's opera. People always are like, oh, do you like the opera at the end of that? I was like, the weird alien song? No, I don't. Twist.
Someone asked me if I liked their program, and I was like, I think you guys looked really in shape.
Lead with a positive. That's great, Dave. Well, wasn't that Sandra talking to Tessa and Scott? Well, you'll have to make me rethink that choice, I guess, what I think about that music. Yeah.
Sandra's a gem.
Isn't she? She's happy.
Yeah. She's happy.
Wait, so what was your moment of the week?
No, my moment of the week was looking at the toe pushes on Diana and Gleb doing their On Ice Perspectives program, skating to music about going to Miami, Terry's favorite vacation spot. I mean, come on.
It was second only to Vegas, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, Russians love Miami. It's like tacky and money and fabulous. Yes, a little mafia.
And hot, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
No, my moment of the week was Lilah and Lewis doing that step sequence. Okay. Yeah. That was what we wanted to see this week.
100%. They were fabulous. Although I'm still going with Yelim Kim because I suddenly got excited to follow someone through this season, and it was her.
Also working with Julia Lautova and that kind of energy, that was really...
It yielded results.
Sure did. Okay.
But at what cost, Dave? Yeah.
No, but then like she gave me an exercise to do, which is very Kudryavtsev, right? From her. And then I go to Yuri and I'm like, Julia says we need to work on this. I don't see how that's going to help your job. I don't see how that's going to help keeping your left arm front. You need to keep your left arm front. You keep it front. Thanks, Yuri.
Great. You got an exercise for that? I'm collecting.
I also explained to Yuri this week. Yuri, because he was trying to like build me up. He's like, you have everything. You just have mental problems. Yuri, in America, calling anxiety mental problems is like not the best.
Yeah, like most of our baselines are like right here with anxiety. Like we're doing the best we can.
If you were a school teacher, you might get fired.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, you are an educator, so just something to keep in mind moving forward. Yeah,
he's the best. So he's like a grumpy grizzly bear that he once tried to leave Galina and called her best friend, who he didn't realize was her best friend, to take him on as a coach. I mean, that is like the greatest.
Yeah,
you can't make that up. That's just...
Oh, wait. Oh, my God, Dave, people are going to go nuts. We didn't talk about Ilia Axel.
Oh, my God, Jonathan. We were having
final moments.
Or Kevin Aymoz. Oh,
that's right.
Obviously, Ilia Axel is the moment. But you know what, Jonathan, I have to say? It happened on Tuesday. It feels like it was a million years ago.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Yes. It was incredible. Incredible. Okay. I will never accuse him of having skating skills.
No.
But, and I will agree. When the Olympics were chosen, Galina was holding court in the middle. She was having her moment as an Olympic coach in the middle of the ice house lobby. And she was giving me shit for being an American. Because she loved when I'd be like in the Russian press, and then she'd be like, yeah, saying big scandal. What about the scandal of Ilia Malinin being left off the Olympic team? And she was like,
that's how I felt.
So stupid, the US Federation not taking him. Because of course, you said Ilia Malinin, they watch him in the practice. Okay, you say, we'll lower his placement too. You get another dance medal. I was like, oh, shit, we're admitting that?
Yeah.
Jason Brown, I love his skating with all my heart. Offers absolutely nothing. Like, just...
Not a sentimental kind of lady, I guess, about that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Or like their take on what happened in the pairs competition is that Russia deserved to... The Russian theory of pairs in '94 is that Shishkova and Naumov deserved the bronze, but that the Ukrainian judge, because remember his son was Oksana's coach and had moved to Ukraine, that they put Brasseur and Eisler first, and that's how that all happened. And they're like, yes. And then you look at the protocols and you're like, this sport is rigged. Okay.
Yeah, especially then. It really was. I know we're struggling still, but really it was more outrageous than...
But you know what? Tracy and Scott bullshitted through everything so well that we didn't even know.
Exactly. They kept us safe from the knowledge. Yeah.
They kept us so safe.
Until they didn't. So one fateful night in Salt Lake City. Yeah.
But they got real in their feelings.
Yeah.
No, Ilia's quad axel, I mean, he did not look like he had practiced his short program, but he has practiced that quad axel.
Yes, he has. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so from now until Skate America, they really should probably not send him to Japan Stars and Ice, have him train, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on him to deliver.
Right.
And the competition is being held in a practice rink in Boston. I mean, the sport needs every Ilia Malinin quad axel that it can get.
Yeah.
And US figure skating should take that quad axel, pay thousands of dollars for a sponsored post, and make that thing go viral.
Yeah. Well, again, I was even surprised. It didn't seem to get as much traction as one thought it might have. But I mean, again, not to be Oh, sorry. My headphones are the wrong size, I think. So they keep slipping out and I keep touching them. And now it's like keep opening my iTunes. It really is the only thing there. Yeah. If we're giving it the same treatment we would give anyone else, yes, the quad axel is amazing. End of statement. So I don't know how far that will take him, so, but it's interesting to see that element. And of course, shocking how little it is worth.
Yes.
That's absurd. It's like just a point more or something than the quad toe. It does not track for me at all, but.
Come on. Also, Kevin Aymoz' new program was a lot of fun. As usual with Kevin, the consistency was not there yet.
It was interesting because it was sort of mirroring Adam in Lombardia, is because they both have this beautiful carriage. They have this beautiful way of skating. It's so cool. It's so held. It's so amazing. And then everything gets so discombobulated and like they're just throwing the kitchen sink at the jumps that neither one of them seems to be able to unscramble their legs or feet in time. It's sort of this, and it is, I even remember Florent Amodio kind of doing the same thing. I don't know what happens if you represent France, that this consistency emerges in beautiful programs, beautiful movement, and such chaos in the air.
Do you remember what Dick Button told us?
No.
Well, the French figure skaters have always been left of center.
Just ask Agnes Gosselin in 1988. Again, one of my favorite commentary moments for Dick. Yeah, if she represented the US, she would be nowhere near this Olympic team.
Her coach, Juan Christophe Simon, was not a powerful figure skater in his own right.
Like followed the formula as if he was saying the opposite. But
Jenny had never seen that. And I made her watch that. And she was like, oh.
Went for it.
You go watch 84, watch the Soviet ladies skate, and you'll realize Peggy, not so nice.
Not so nice. Ask her about the boots. Was that your Ivanova? She's like, oh my gosh, the boots. Yeah.
Dick actually says the boots, and she was like, yeah. Dirty boots or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's so
she's
funny.
The kind of mean person who laughs at the mean jokes.
That's it.
Yeah.
But interesting. Like I like Adam's programs very much. Loved Kevin's programs a lot. And again, if they could just...
he was wearing a sleeveless shirt and he shaved the Yeah,
I was into it.
He looked great.
Worked for me. Yeah. Both of them beautiful.
I think Sylvia Fontana could maybe be a little bit more of a spicy Italian and make sure we get some clean, long programs out of him. They were a little too chummy in the kiss and cry. All right.
Yeah, I'm curious always in those moments. I was like, is this a fundamental technique flaw that happened early on? Or is this something that can be rectified? Because even in his finest moments, you felt like he just eked out those landings. And because everything else is so amazing, you're so excited to reward it when it happens. But I think it's always sort of like a toss of the dice.
Galina also said that Kevin Aymoz, because she was Sylvia's coach, she was like, Kevin is a choleric personality. They can only skate well once a year. So she said, she's like, he's like Misha Shmerkin.
Oh, I liked him. Yeah.
Who was a skater.
Once a year.
Yeah. Once a year. And then I asked her Rashev about this. He's like, I was also a choleric skater. I could skate well once a year. And then she was like, he's 100%. You're 75. And I was like, kind of triggered by that. So
yeah, exactly. That percentage does not jive with my brand. Yeah.
But like now that ever since she said it, every time I see Kevin skate, I'm like, choleric personality. Like,
but I kind of, she's correct in that right. Yeah.
It makes him our favorite to watch. And apparently Misha Shmerkin is a hoot. Although he was at the ice house, Roman was coaching me and he's like, that's Misha Shmerkin. And I was like, get him down at the ice. And Roman wouldn't do it. He didn't understand. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know the number of stories that we had heard about this game.
What if this is that one day a year? Get him on the ice.
Get him on the ice. Yeah. Okay.
This could be it. We're missing it. Yeah. Okay.
So yes, a moment of the week, obviously Ilia Malinins quad axel. But
But
Lilah.
also Kevin. Yeah, that was a moment.
Lilah Lewis, Yelim Kim,
Yeah.
Rinka, new star, Kaori in the new hair.
Yeah.
Not Marie France in the plaid jacket. Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
But you know what
It's a
she made
learning
with
curve.
Kaori? She gave her the magical hair and powers. So you know what?
There it is.
Hold it at you, looks sexy. Bye now.